So Owen Jones has announced that after 24 years, he's cancelled his membership to the Labour Party. And I say, finally. I mean, I'm surprised he's lasted so long, but to be honest, he's a proper Labourite. I mean, he supported Labour through every single leadership. He's never supported any other party before. This is a clip of him from his latest video.
Now, I voted Labour under every single leader in the 21 years of my adult life. Spent years working for Labour MPs. I've campaigned for the party hundreds of times. I've done fundraiser after fundraiser for MPs on every wing of the party, organised countless mass canvasses across the country. The Labour Party's been a big part of me. But today, I've quit. Felt pretty emotional. But you see, I can't support a Labour leadership defined by dishonesty, whose word you can't trust on anything, which lacks any vision, belief or principle, which is driven only for power for its own sake, and which will over and over again defend the interests of the rich over those whose lives are just getting harder and harder. And I can't support a party with a total lack of answers to the massive crises and injustice that define this country, which I fear, when their government comes crashing down under the weight of their own dishonesty and failures, will just pave the way for the far right. And I just can't support a party run by people who I think will dangerously abuse the huge power that they're going to get.
Now, as he explained, he's been Labour his whole life, but things have clearly gone too far. And he's right. I mean, so many criticised me, Owen, or anyone on the left for being purists, when the opposite couldn't be more true. If he or myself were purists, we'd have immediately stopped supporting Labour as soon as Corbyn stepped down. I mean, Owen Jones literally wrote a piece in The Guardian saying we should give Keir Starmer a chance. Now, for me, despite always being sceptical of him, always expecting him to lurch to the right as leader, I was still willing to vote for Labour, even if they shifted to the centre with, maybe some left-wing policies that were kept in there. But that's not what has happened. Labour has lurched so far to the right, Starmer is Labour's most right-wing leader in its history. So the idea that any of us are hard-left purists is frankly delusional. Now, of course, as expected, this has upset all the usual suspects. Cue the centrist melts who think that Owen is irrelevant by rushing to Twitter, foaming at the mouth, telling him that he is in fact irrelevant. Now, there are so many tweets to go through. I just picked out two, which I thought were significant. Owen Jones doesn't need a Labour government. Millions of working class people like myself desperately need one. Well, I'm working class and I need a Labour government that stands up for the working class instead of keeping the 2-child benefit cap, pledging to kick more sick people off welfare like Liz Kendall promised, taking millions from Tory donors whilst telling trade unions to F off. That's where Labour is right now. People like Owen think they own the Labour Party, that the Labour Party is there to represent them and them only, to have policies that meet their ideological test. Fortunately, the Labour Party belongs to the voters and it represents the voters, not Owen Jones. I don't see how quitting your membership means that you own a party. I mean, it's his right as anyone else's right. But the big thing here is that we on the left supported Corbyn because he wanted to open up the party and democratise it. I mean, 500,000 people joined the party. It was the biggest party in Europe. More people, more ideas. He wanted a grassroots movement, whereas Keir Starmer has run the party like Stalin, and it's turned into a small right-wing clique. I mean, the party will definitely win the next election, but it doesn't support the material needs of the working class. And again, the idea that the left are ideological is for the birds. Policies that we on the left support, such as higher taxes on the rich, public ownership, and end to austerity, are not only supported by the majority of voters, they are pragmatic policies that, could begin to turn the tide away from neoliberalism. Now, sticking to privatisation, whilst there's literally shit being pumped into our waters, workers getting lower and lower wages whilst Royal Mail bosses are raking it in, and energy companies are ripping us off where people can't afford energy, then those that stick to that economic framework, like Starmer, like Rachel Reeves, they're the ideological ones. So these people who are happy that Owen is gone, that the left is nowhere to be seen in the Labour Party, see politics as a game, rather than have a set of beliefs or policy positions that they think can materially benefit the working class. It is just a game. I don't really care about Labour winning when they have taken policy for policy, even the wording, the exact same economic policies of the Tories of the last 14 years. And we've got front bench MPs calling Thatcher a visionary and engaging in historical revisionism by saying that, well, Thatcher gave the economy a kick up the ass, she improved the economy. David Lammy said Britain was the sick nation of Europe, and then she took over and things were better. That wasn't true. then the only sort of people Labour will appeal to are those that like Tory policy but don't particularly like the personal conduct of Tory MPs. Labour will do the same, but maybe there's less scandals, or maybe they'll be more professional as they continue the managed decline of Britain. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in changing the country for the better, where we don't rely on the private sector that starves our economy of investment, suck it dry for profit, and then leave the country in tatters. I'm not interested in regurgitating the debate around benefits or about refugees and immigrants. I'm interested in how we can deal with automation, rising inequality, the gig economy, and the climate catastrophe. If that makes me a hard left purist, then so be it. But when Labour win and they move even further to the right, which they will, because that's historically what has happened, even under Tony Blair, I think the way he campaigned in 1997, he didn't pretend to be a lefty, but there were a lot of hopeful things in his campaign. And over the course of the second and third term, they drifted way to the right. And why would Keir Starmer... What historical indication do we have that Keir Starmer is going to be really right-wing up until the election? Wow, suddenly he's the working-class revolutionary, or just being an actual centre-left social democrat. That's not going to happen. He's just going to go to the right, even more right-wing than they are. So when that happens, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. But at least, you know what? The Jam Man and anyone to the left of David Cameron are gone. And finally, but most importantly, Labour have been supporting the genocide of the Palestinians. It is sick and it's twisted. And anyone who feels comfortable being a Labour member or an activist, I do question your politics. Now, there is a very important part of Owen Jones's video, and it's a positive one. He has called for people to vote for the Greens and Independents. And I don't know if he is officially linked with this, but he seemingly announced a new campaign called We Deserve Better. Now, I encourage everyone to join, and if anyone can, chip in, because this money will be raised for independent campaigns. Now, Labour are 100% going to win, but they're going to get a massive majority, and we can't, for the sake of democracy, let them think they can take voters for granted. This could be the election of independents and smaller parties, and we need to stick two fingers up to the genocide-supporting, austerity-backing Thatcher Tribute Act, which is what Labour has become. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and drop a comment. It's good for the algorithm, and I'm interested in what you have to say. If you're not already subscribed, please do, and hit the notification bell. You can also support this channel by becoming a member for 99p per month, and if you're feeling a little more generous, then you can support us on Patreon for £3 or £5 per month. This channel for a while has been uploading every single day, and it's quite a lot of work that is still voluntary and scheduled around my paid work. But I have so much ambition, expect in the future to see more variety in content, such as interviews and Vox Pops. But I want this to be a fully fledged media organisation where not only is this my full-time job, but to have multiple people working for Turn Left. I like to see a live show in the future, more content that delves into culture, history, and much more. But that can only be done if there's money. So please, if you can, support us in any way that's in your capacity. And thank you to existing members, subscribers, and patrons. See you next time.